Okay, well, it is 7:01 and I think we have a quorum, so we can start. We've taken care of the police listening session. The next thing on our written agenda is 131 Locksville Road cleanup. I think I updated everyone in an email that we did receive 2 bids for that. Alicia, I imagine you have those bids.
Yeah.
And how many pages are the bids themselves per bid?
I'm
Multiple
not
pages?
sure. That it's quite thick.
It's quite
Oh,
thick.
actually, I numbered the pages, so it'll tell me.
Yeah.
They have added their insurance policies and other things that we've requested from them.
Okay.
It's about 13 pages.
Oh, so it is pretty voluminous. But could you just give us the numbers that each bid have submitted and the names?
Okay. So we got a bid from Hilltown Demolition in the amount of $51,243. And we got from Duke's LLC. I want to look at it again, but I believe it's $30,000. Sorry. $30,000.
Right. So I just wanted to say that during the walkthrough that we did with these 2 companies, I thought they were both very impressive in their familiarity with hoarding and how to deal with it, and also junk removal and how to deal with that. So I don't think that we can actually approve a bid absolutely, because we don't know where the money is coming from at this point, or if we're determined necessarily to do this. But I can suggest that tentatively, I would say we should probably accept the lower bid. But let's hear from the other board members and the FinCom about the general discussion about what to do next year. Gillian?
I have a question. Just because I don't know all the rules, do these dollar amounts for bids put us into a different category of how we need to be gathering information, or did we already do those steps?
No, the bidding process was the satisfaction of the requirements.
Okay.
Since the amount is over $10,000, we need to solicit bids, and we did receive 2 written bids, and we did have 3 people at the walkthrough. One of them decided not to submit a bid.
Okay.
I think we meet the requirements on that level.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
It is discouraging how much it costs.
It is, but just as a reminder, this is a strategy suggested by Charlie Konecki, and the idea is that the town spends the money and then we lien the property for that amount, so the town gets to recover that amount if it ever gets sold, or if the town perhaps takes control of the property at some point.
Right. I do understand it, and I support getting it done.
Okay.
It's
Lori?
a lot of money.
I don't know, Alicia, if you looked at it closely enough to understand if there's any significant difference between the 2 that warrants the big difference in price.
I have not. I want to say when I spoke to, I think some of them had driven by and taken a look, and I think not seeing the back. For two of the bidders had changed their bids after The other person that said they were going to come, had made a comment, but I guess must have pulled out, wasn't interested in the job or whatever. But these people, one of them might have submitted the bid. He was going to change the bid and then said he wasn't going to. So I think he kept it. I don't know if it was because of the deadline, the date. But. So I haven't looked further into it to see for sure, but there are 3 copies for each of you, so you can.
Oh, okay.
Can look into it.
Okay, that's good. And we can look at that tomorrow when we go to sign the warrant. But in the meantime, actually, I think it probably would be a good idea to scan both of the complete documents and send them to Charlie for his evaluation.
Okay.
If it's easier to just send him photocopies, I think that's fine too. Whichever is easiest.
Okay, I can scan it and send it.
It's probably
that's
not a bad
problem.
idea to have it digitally anyway.
Yeah, I can
And
save it right to that folder.
yeah, and then I think it'd be good to have him weigh in on it before we make a final decision. But how about Doug? Over to you. 30,000?
Well, yeah, and we've already spent something around 20 on legal work as well. It's really one of the sadder situations we've ever encountered, I guess.
Yeah.
I assume that in the legal work that the town gets paid if the property is transferred as well as sold,
Right.
in the event of death or abandonment or whatever. And
foreclosure as well.
or if it's in foreclosure, yeah, if there happened to be some kind of debt that would make it in to make that happen. I don't know what the situation is there. So I don't see where we have much choice other than to just forget about it. But we already invested the legal money in it, and the Board of Health insists that it's important, and it certainly seems to be the case. Perhaps if it was in a different location, you might be able to live with it, but being where it is, it's also a problem. So we'll just have to take it out of stabilization and hope we get it back someday.
Yeah, that was my thought. And I think to do that, we need a special town meeting, right?
Yeah, unless the rules on the select board being able to make transfers aside from town meetings, unless those rules are still in place. There was a fairly simple procedure that was in place during the COVID thing where you just had to get the okay from somebody from DLS or DOR, I think, and
Okay.
and an agreement among the select board, but I don't know if that's still in place.
Okay, well, we can research that.
Yeah, we could find that out quick enough, I guess.
But we do want to have a special town meeting.
But we're going to
anyway,
have one
so-
anyway, right? That's right. We're going to have one. We're going to have one for the planning board, right?
Yeah.
And there's
But
a
I
bunch
think-
of other little housekeeping to do there.
But this contract, I think, is only good for 30 days probably, right? Their bid.
Boy.
Yeah, I think I'd have to read it, but I think it does expire after 30 days.
Wow.
Well, we want the, sorry, the special town meeting, the planning board wants it before December 7th.
They want it before
we-
December 7th?
Yes.
It's true. We were on a fast track to get this done, so I think we could do it.
Yeah, that's less than 30 days away.
There might have only been it did say on here that we wanted the work done within 3 weeks.
Yeah, my concern
From-
would be that if we don't act soon, that we're gonna miss a window where they could start cleanup before the snow
That
comes.
too, right. And we should miss it anyway, but at least if we had it in place, they'll get to it when they can.
But, I also understand that there's some rules about how we can use money.
Yep.
Yeah, so maybe we should tentatively schedule a special town meeting for 2 weeks from now. Because a special needs to be posted 2 weeks in advance.
Unfortunately, I think that's a holiday.
And that's probably a holiday. So what would the next day be?
December 4th.
Are we prepared to write
think
those
we can-
articles today?
I think we can do it on I think we might be past the outdoor meetings, so we could do an evening, which means it doesn't have to be a Saturday.
Yeah,
So it could be, I mean, we could
December
do
1st.
it. Yeah, or the 30th.
yeah, probably need a couple of days to get those warrant articles in.
We also, do we have a select board meeting the Wednesday before Thanksgiving? We're scheduled to, but
I found where it says a bidder will be held to the terms and the prices submitted for the duration of the contract period if a contract is signed by both parties within 45 days from bid
Ah.
opening.
Oh, 45.
Oh, okay, so there's more time
Right.
there, right? That's good.
That is good.
But yeah, it's like Gillian says, I mean, weather-wise, if we're gonna have it done, who knows when? Could be tomorrow, but probably not.
So Laura, you were thinking of an indoor meeting?
Yes. I don't know if we really want to be outdoors, risking the outdoors at this point. And I
Okay.
know that Katie and Barbara, I think, have said it'll probably be okay to do an indoor with masks and
Okay. Okay,
We have windows, we have fans.
yeah, Good Neighbors even has some air purifiers. I don't know how effective they are, but
so,
Katie has a comment, it looks like. Do you? Katie, did you want to say something?
I just wanted to confirm that Barbara and I had checked town hall and that the windows could be opened slightly to add some ventilation, so an indoor meeting could work.
okay. And it is gonna take some time. Are the planning board articles ready to go at this point? Does anybody know?
I don't know.
I don't know anything about that.
So we can't assume that they are ready to go. So let's assume
No.
that they're gonna take a week or so to pull them together. And it'll take us a week or so to pull it together, and then that brings us to the 17th. So so I don't know, second week in December, like the 7th or 9th.
Did you think the first week there wouldn't work? That 30th or the 1st? And I know Katie, I think, is not available. Was it the 7th you're not available, Katie?
The 5th. So
The
the
5th,
Saturday
okay.
or the Sunday.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So it's the 5th, she's not available?
Which is the Sunday, so.
I am also not available on the 5th.
So Lori, what are you thinking? The first week of December, the 1st, or the 2nd, or the second week?
You're muted, Lori.
I was thinking the 30th or the 1st, just if we want to, again, make sure that they can get the work done before the snow. That's probably
Yeah,
one of the key things. And I did just find an email from Christopher Parker from way back. It does look like they might have the articles sort of written out already.
Okay.
They had them ready in June. I don't know. They might have to, tweak them or make
Okay.
some minor adjustments, but
Okay, so everybody sound good with the first?
So, yeah, can I just confirm that would mean that we would need to approve a warrant before the 17th? Because it has to be posted 2 weeks before.
That's right.
So will we have another meeting on the 17th?
We don't necessarily have to have a meeting before we post the warrant.
Okay.
I think we can come up with all the articles via email, probably, without a
Okay.
meeting, unless you think we need one.
No, I just want to make sure, I just want to be sure that everything's together, I guess, before then, just so that we can post it for the 30th or the 1st. I just knowing how hard it is sometimes to pull all the pieces together. And
Well, it's mainly just the planning board and this and the cleanup.
And I think we'll put the MLP articles on there too, just in case
just in case.
those get
Yeah.
certified, the certified earnings get there.
Right, right. Yep. Can
Yeah,
always
we can
change
put
it
them
later.
on and just pass over them if they're not ready.
All right,
Yep.
and there was a concern last time that not everyone knew that we were going to have a special town meeting. So should we do the group email out again, and make sure that we've got everybody included to say
Yes,
last chance for yet one more special town meeting if you have anything that needs to go on the warrant?
good idea.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And include people like Annie Diamond and
Right.
who I don't think has been in on any of those groups that we've put together. Because is there any other sort of people we might forget like that?
I thought there was somebody else who.
But I believe one of you, Gillian or Laurie, has a list of town officials that you sent out to last time.
Hopefully Alicia has now compiled as pretty
Right.
complete a list as we can have, although we should add Annie Diamond, because I don't think she was on any of the other emails that and I mean, this might be the only time we have to contact her, not for other like town business stuff. But.
It might be worth giving her a phone call to Alicia, just to say we're scheduling a special town meeting for such and such a date. I know she
Okay.
doesn't always check her email.
Oh, that's right. She isn't an email person, is she?
Yeah, that's a good idea. And she is the chief constable of Windle, so it's important to let her know for more reasons than one.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
Doug, do you have any other articles in mind?
I don't think so. I think it might. I checked with Phil, and he thought that they had at one point, I thought they might have an overage on the police station renovation and of about $15,000. But the last time I talked to him about it, he said he thought they had it covered. So it might be worth double checking with him with this. But otherwise, I think we're okay.
Okay, great. And for now, the $30,000, we can write up an article to transfer it out of stabilization,
Mhm.
much as I hate to do it.
Much as I hate to see it. Mm-hmm.
Because I think I saw the balance is around, it's less than 200 now.
It might be more like, I think it's 235, maybe.
I think I saw, didn't I see today that in the
Did you look on the, did it show
accountant
that?
report?
Boy,
I think
that
it's
sounds,
190 something.
that doesn't sound right. But
could be wrong.
there could be a variety of reasons for that
Yeah,
between errors or some
okay,
things.
well, strike that. And
I'll look into that though. I will.
I don't want you to lose any
Um,
sleep over my.
Well, we
misreading.
don't. I
Don't
know.
suppose,
I think I know what the number should be. I don't remember, but it's over 200. But sometimes errors get made, and I have to run them down.
Yeah.
So
I understand.
fairly confident this might take it down to about 200 is what will happen, I think.
Yeah.
My only last minute thought, sorry, Gillian, is there any way this has to do with clean water or,
Yeah.
because then the ARPA funds
Oh.
can kick in.
I mean,
That's not bad.
it's so close to the school. We're still in mystery about where this pollutant is coming from, and it would be something. Find out it was from there. It's not out of question.
I don't think that's a bad idea, Lori. I think that's a good idea. I think
It's
It's
worth a
really
try.
close. It's really close. If there's been, I mean, yeah, I've heard some various theories involving fertilizer and sludge from that they use to make fertilizer these days that sound pretty logical. But I've also been assured from Al McIntyre that people around here don't use that for fertilizer, but somebody might have been using it. We don't know, and who knows what's in that stuff in his yard. I mean,
Well,
oh
I
my
know some of it.
God.
I've been on several tours now, and I'm
Yeah,
sure
right.
there's,
That's right. You know
there's
more.
no doubt. There's no doubt that there's chemicals leaking from those vehicles. Absolutely no doubt.
Because he never did what a legal junkyard would remove that stuff legally, and he wouldn't.
There's all kinds of trash that's just soaking right into the ground.
I think that's worth looking into for
I think it is. Yeah.
as toxic waste cleanup being so close to the school. It's
Are you thinking
kind
of the
of a-
same address does anybody
Not-
else?
Yeah, it's not
What
that
address
close,
are you
though.
thinking of, Doug?
Is
saying
that
it's close?
close?
There is another property that is close to the school that has
Oh.
a similar problem.
I may
But
have them
this is not-
confused. Yes,
Oh.
that's probably true. I probably have the two of them confused.
Yeah,
This is
yeah,
on
Lux
Lux Village.
Village.
Yep.
But nevertheless, it still is a groundwater threat.
Yeah, it is. It is a groundwater thing.
And in fact, the neighbors have constantly complained, and they have dug wells, and there's definitely a potential threat there to the groundwater, no doubt in my mind.
Put it on the list to see if we can get that
Yeah.
covered.
I can, I think there's,
I bet that one,
You like-
Phil was mentioning something about hazard money. That for the highway department, there's hazard
mitigation.
maybe it is hazard mitigation,
I
safety,
think it's
something.
something that needs to be, is far off. I think we need to update our plan or something first.
Yeah, right. It was a plan. Yeah, you're right. That had to be first. You had to do that.
But
Mm.
I can try to ask Bob Dean or look, I think he said that the water regulations about what works, what is good for ARPA is, I think I can remember or find the information on that, and I'll look into it.
Yeah, it's through
Okay.
like the Clean Water Act, like if it-
Exactly,
the
yeah.
Clean Water Act.
Thanks, Lori, for looking into that.
That would be interesting. Get super cleanup money,
Super fun.
Mhm.
So did we decide on the 30th or the 1st?
Thought it was the first Wednesday. Is that right?
I'll just ask, is there any chance we will not meet on the 24th, the day before Thanksgiving? And if not, would we postpone to the 1st? That's the only thing that makes me wonder.
I think normally we've met on Thanksgiving Eve, but what would you folks like to do? We can do it either way. Could also make
I
that,
think actually it's probably okay with me. I don't think we're going anywhere that night.
This
But-
year it's okay with me because we're doing it early on the 20th.
okay, so let's stick with that on the 24th and
Okay.
and what's the date for the special, Lori?
So then we could have it, if we like Wednesdays to keep things consistent, we could do it on the December 1st.
Yeah, that sounds good to me.
At 7?
December 1st at 7 in the town hall.
Yep.
December 1st at the town hall. You said right?
Yep.
Okay,
Alicia, are you able to send an email out to the big group asking if they have anything for the warrant.
Yes.
We would probably want it. I don't know, do we want to tell
ASAP.
people we want things by the 15th or? If, I mean, I don't think we'll get anything. The planning board is the only one if they need to adjust what they've already written. You know, any articles would need to be submitted maybe by the
Post by the
15th.
15th. Post by 15th, yeah.
Okay, so the 15th?
Well, I don't know. I think, isn't that a little late?
It's kind of, we
I
had a
think
little
that's too
trouble
late.
last time with the night before thing. We messed it all up.
Oh.
Well, that would mean.
Gives
they'd
a
have
little
to have
editing
it in.
time.
I mean, we
Oh,
don't
yeah,
have much time. Today's the
I think
10th.
it did.
Make it the 13th, and then if there's an emergency, we'll deal with it.
Even though the 13th is a Saturday.
Is it?
It's a Friday.
It's a Friday?
No, it's
That's
a
fine then.
Saturday, the 12th.
Oh,
Well, that's only 2 days away, right?
Right.
Hmm.
I
So-
think we say the 15th and
Yeah.
Because Alicia's not going to get it. Nope, nobody's going to be there to get it on the 12th anyway. Right. It's Friday.
Alicia's not going to be here. No,
Well,
I
I'll
remember
be
that.
here next week to
Yeah,
get
that's
it
not.
all wrapped up.
Is that what's he? Well, maybe that is that what's your last day?
the 18th.
The 18th. Oh yeah, okay, all right.
Okay, so we'll say that any articles have to come in by the 15th.
Yeah.
At
That
3
sounds
Are you
o'clock
good.
deciding on that?
or
Okay.
noon. By noon.
By noon.
That's good. Yeah, good idea.
You got that, Alicia?
Noon.
Yep, by noon,
Yep.
15th?
On the 15th?
Because then it gives her a chance to work on it some before
Yep.
the end of the day.
Okay.
Okay, well, we've gone well past the time when we were supposed to be talking with Doug about the wage increase plan proposal. And
Well, okay, that's looking better and better. Actually, I think I got more data from Deb yesterday, the day before. Finally starting to get better information about the details of the RATS budget, particularly. It's kind of a confluence of things, and so it looks to me like between the fact that the RATS budget the income has gone up $5,000 a year for the last 3 years, from about 35,000 to 45,000, with the fact that the expense of the hauling should be down $1,000 a month from with 2 years ago. So I'm pretty soon I'll be able to do a quarter measure, but the recent warrant that came out today looks good too. Looks encouraging. So I'm pretty sure the money's there to give $1 an hour wages to everyone who's on that list. That's part of that proposal. And we'll deal with the consequences of that and what we have to do next year around wages as it comes. One thing to remember is that even though the COLA will likely be higher this year for the world, we use an average. We use a 5-year average, I think 5, not 3, if I
Right.
remember correctly. So it won't be as big here as it will be in some places. It'll go up a little at a time. So I think we can do it, and I would encourage the select board to pass it.
I'm in favor.
Sure, I'm in favor.
I'm in favor, and I guess want to put on the record too that and I know this is really hard, but at some point I do feel like we need to continue to look at those other positions, the library director, town coordinator, and fire chief.
Yeah.
Because I think
Right.
it's going to be harder and harder for us to maintain people in those positions.
That's right. Well, off the record, I would assume that given the circumstance that the library board will be proposing an increase for the library director, and we have to wrestle with the town coordinator issue shortly.
Yeah.
Fire chief is, yeah, he wants more money every year and he's gonna retire soon, so I don't know. We'll talk to Joe.
Thank you,
See
Doug,
what
for
we can do.
working on this. I appreciate
Mhm.
it.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
thanks, Doug. And would you like a vote on it? Should we vote on that?
I mean,
I guess you have to, yeah, you have
I
to, and
make
you
a
have to,
proposal that we, or I move that we approve the wage increases that Doug has proposed.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
oh, you could also, well, you could, what are does anybody know what the pay periods are right now? We pay every 2 weeks, right? So where are we in a pay period? You might want to make it retroactive to the whatever pay period is we're in.
Did you put that in your proposal?
No, because we didn't know what date it was going to happen. Alicia,
Okay.
you get paid. When do you get paid?
Well, we signed the
They
warrant.
signed-
That's,
Yeah, when did you
that's-
sign the warrant?
we will
Did-
tomorrow.
Are you going to sign it tomorrow
Yeah,
for wages? I would suggest that you include it. You ask Carolyn to modify it.
It might be too late for this week, but
oh,
should
it's
I
too
do
late
it
to
beforehand?
modify this week's actual warrant. But if you
It
want to
is.
make it retroactive and pay people, but then you have to determine how far retroactive do you want to make it? I don't know.
Well, I'd assume we could do it. We could, you know, the year starts on the first of a month, so we could take it to November 1st or whatever pay period is closest to that. To make it simple, I mean, you don't want Carolyn to have to figure out, oh, so many days in one pay period and so many days in another pay period.
Well, the pay
So-
period would start, it would have started a new one this week.
So,
That would have been on the 8th. I would assume that's how it goes.
so
Monday
okay,
to-
so the eighth is the nearest pay period. So you could ask Carolyn to pay people retroactively $1 an hour and add it on to the last pay period, but I don't know. It could be yes or I don't care. What you decide.
I have a strong interest in making things simple for Carolyn.
Yeah, I do too. So that's what I think.
Can I
All
make
right.
a, can I
would
make
say
a
that-
proposal? Can I amend my proposal?
Sure.
I'd like to amend to say that we approve Doug's proposal and for Carolyn to pay retroactively with the first pay period in November 2021. Starting retroactively for the first pay period in November of 2021.
Well, I don't know. I think that makes it more complicated, going anything retroactive. I think
You don't want to do anything retroactive?
I think it makes it much simpler for her if you just start the next time she does a warrant.
Oh, I mean to put it on the next, it doesn't have to be for this week's checks.
Well,
It can
as soon
be,
as you say retroactive, that means you're paying something before the action was taken. So I'm suggesting that we
okay,
just
so
ask
just
her.
start with the next pay period.
Yeah.
It could be the current pay period and it would not be a problem.
She'd still have
Right?
to
Because
figure out
if the pay
retroactive.
period started, if this pay period started this week, that will be very easy for her to include.
But
And
the
that will
term-
in fact be the first full pay period in November, won't it? Because it's a 2-week rotation.
Yeah. So starting with the current pay period, how's that sound?
Okay,
Okay. Thanks. And somebody should talk to Carolyn about this, I think.
Yep.
Pretty
Well,
soon. You will,
Doug,
Doug?
are you gonna talk
Yeah,
to her?
I'll send her a note tonight and she expects it.
Good,
Okay.
thanks.
thank you.
Thanks a lot for that, Doug, and for all your work on that. It's a good move.
I wish it
Make
was
people
easier.
happy. Yeah, me too, but it will make people happy. I think
Yep.
Deservedly.
Yep.
All right, let's see where we are here. Appointments is the next thing on the written agenda. Do we have an appointment to make? Or
Katie
more than one?
Lee to the website committee. Kate Lee,
Oh, Kate Lee to the website, right.
Can we just sign the slip or do we need to, I don't think, do we normally vote
No,
on
we normally,
one-off
we normally-
appointments?
normally just sign the slip. So Alicia, can you make up an appointment slip for that?
Oh,
yep, there, it's already here.
All right,
Good.
great. And we'll sign that
There's two
tomorrow.
of them, though. I think you have to sign two, right, Anna?
Yeah,
Two?
yep. One goes to her and one goes to the, then they have to bring it to her to get sworn in.
Okay.
Maggie Houghton also made a request for the animal inspector. That she would like to resign from her position, and Sarah Jenny is interested. Though she also, I spoke with her and she said that it's a little bit more of a confusing position because there's some approval by the state. I think she has to go through some training and stuff. Her position would not start, a new position wouldn't start till like sometime in January. But it's something that we should put on the list for appointments.
Okay. Yep,
Is that
that's
a
animal.
paid position?
I actually don't know that answer.
I think it's in the
Little bit.
budget.
It might have a little stipend,
There's a
I believe
little-
it has like
I think-
$100 or $200 stipend a year. It's
Something
like
not
that.
a lot.
Yep,
my computer's kind of broke down and I'm between computers, so it's not easy for me to access this information as it usually is.
I think
Not
there's
as easy as
upside
usual.
down.
Sorry. I'll see if I can find it.
Not
And-
important. I was just thinking there must be an additional process that needs to happen if for somebody getting paid in terms of switching from Maggie to Sarah, other than an appointment slip. I wasn't sure who does, if that's something that we
I
need
think that
to,
would, I think
tell
that would be
somebody about.
Carolyn also. She would just need to be informed and
all right.
if the stipend, I don't know how she does those little stipends.
I think the next thing on our written agenda, Lori, is yours, the MLP hut monitoring.
Yes. So, one thing that hasn't, that is recommended for the broadband hut is that we put in a monitoring system, like an alarm system, that monitors, it's part security, part monitoring the, that everything is functioning, that kind of thing. And there, WG&E did a bid process for all the towns, and there's 2 bids in the 12 to 13,000 range. That's the upfront installation, and then there's also an annual, fee. But the question that we had was if that might be something we could pay from the original construction funds, because it wasn't something that was anticipated in terms of operation, in terms of how the MLP is operating in the operating budget. And it does seem like sort of a one-time construction type thing. And Ray thought that the select board would have to weigh in on whether, if we can use the construction funds for that. And the other option is possibly, again, ARPA funds, because it's a broadband related expense.
Mhm.
So,
So that would just be the cost of installation, and then the MLP would cover the ongoing cost.
right, yep.
Well, I would be in support of paying it out of the construction
I would
funds,
be in
just
support of,
the installation of the system.
yeah,
Okay,
I'd be into doing that and or first checking to see if it's ARPA eligible.
Yeah.
Though we keep putting things towards ARPA and we really don't know how
No.
much we're spending.
exactly.
So I guess if money
Okay.
is available.
I know, how are we gonna figure that out when the
Right.
school bill comes back as something
Right.
ridiculous?
And how much money do we have left in the construction fund?
Plenty.
Plenty?
I don't know.
Okay.
If you want me to find out, I might be able to ask Ray, but
Well, I think we could go ahead and pay it from there, and if it's eligible for ARPA, we maybe can get refunded for it.
Yeah, Yeah.
That would be
All
the,
right.
I think would be the way that we should proceed.
Sounds good to me.
All right. Thank you. That was it.
Did we
Easy.
take care of the wood bank thing today, Lori, when we talked?
If, once we get the answer from Tom.
Yeah.
Which I don't know if you got a chance, we could just briefly say, I think we talked about this a little bit, I can't remember when, but, you know, Cliff has been collecting quite a bit of wood at 97 Wendell Depot Road. And we all sort of didn't think about that when we sold it. So I've had some back and forth with Cliff, so he knows now. He seemed like I think he was surprised. It was just an email back and forth. He was, he seemed surprised, and his main comment was, wow, I just had more wood delivered there. So, and I don't know if he has plans for how he's going to process it all yet. So I think the next step is to just see how Tom feels about how long it can stay there, and or how much, if we can process it there, or if we'll have to move it and all that.
But
So Dan's going to talk to Tom.
in the meantime, he's not going to put any more wood there for the time being.
Well, I can make that very clear, but I would think so, that's the case. That didn't explicitly get said, but I will make sure that.
Okay.
I'm sure that's what he thinks. I'll just double check.
Okay, thank you.
I think we should also put it back on our agenda for finding another place.
Right, exactly.
And a plan for processing it.
Right, and we put that on him to figure out. So I think we need to find out if he's made any progress.
Yeah. Okay, well, I think we've taken care of the wage increase plan and the special town meeting. The next item is coordinator, and we're all sorrowfully acknowledging the departure of Alicia. But we gotta look forward. We've got to be forward looking. And Doug has made this very interesting proposal to tide us over in the meantime, which sounded fine to me if he's still willing to do it.
Can I ask a quick question? I know
Sure.
before we hired Alicia, she was the assistant town clerk. So is that by any chance, are you going to continue doing that or not?
I thought it was wrapped up in this job, so I would assume that probably not. It depends how you guys fill that position. If you,
Oh, right. Okay.
you know what I mean? I'm not sure what you guys have decided on, whether you're leaving it open to, a full-time person or somebody that,
I imagine short
I
term
don't
with Doug, with somebody filling in, which I think is going to be necessary. That might be something we will be open if you're willing to do it. I don't know. Other people should weigh in, because this was just a thought I had. But I assume we're going to need an assistant town clerk ongoing.
Yes, please.
and the Board of Health clerk too, is in there, so, I guess if you don't find somebody for those, for those positions, we can, talk about that, I think, like I said, I want to make sure, the transition is easy for you guys, so I'm gonna, set Doug up as, as educated in everything as possible. So I'll
But I
be
think-
writing a lot of stuff down.
I think, Doug, the concept was to try to hire somebody for 32 some odd hours per week for 32 to 35,000 a year, and that person would be our town coordinator and the assistant town clerk and the Board of Health clerk. Is that right?
Yeah, it seems to be the most practical thing to be looking for. It certainly would be possible to hire those separately. as they have been in the past. But
I guess,
so depending who we got who wanted the job.
I am curious, would Alicia be willing to stay on as assistant town clerk and or board of health clerk after her last day as a coordinator? Because we will not have hired a replacement at that time. And I assume Doug would not want to necessarily take on those things as well.
Well, I would say, I think I can do the Board of Health piece. I mean, because I think that from my understanding so far, talking with Alicia, a lot of what she's doing is administrative assisting around the Hamilton property and things like that. And that's kind of comes through the law office and other stuff. And there's things to pass on to other people. And I would assume I would just do that.
I'm doing minutes for them.
Yeah, that's a different issue. Minutes is another thing. Yeah, I probably wouldn't want to do that.
Yeah, so I'm willing to help where I can for those, for the other positions. And, to train, I'm, figured that I would, probably ask if I can come, when you guys hire somebody, replacement for Doug, if you need me to, I will happily come back and train, to keep things going. I think that'll be okay with.
The one question, Alicia, I know the Board of Health is meeting at 5:30. Is that going to be a possibility if you were to take minutes?
Yeah, I would just have to be somewhere where there's Zoom, because they're on to Zoom meetings now, so that'll be okay.
Okay.
And I was training with more stuff in there, but it was really tasks I was doing in here, like submitting bills or checks or, it wasn't anything, it was filing, it was pretty basic stuff.
Okay.
For them, nothing too complicated, so.
What nights were they meeting?
Monday, same week as the select board meetings.
Wow.
They do the second and fourth.
If it's minutes, maybe the shared clerk might be willing to do that. Is she still working for us? And we haven't had a meeting in a little while, so.
I'm not sure she wants to take anything else on.
No.
I've asked her about the select board. And I don't know if others, but I can ask her.
Well,
I wouldn't be crazy about another evening meeting, but in the interim, it could be maybe talking to them, they might have an alternative to get them by for a few months or a month or two or whatever this takes.
Or
but
maybe we need another conversation, but if Alicia's willing to take minutes for the Board of Health,
that'd be good. It's not too much of a burden.
That would be very helpful.
to fill in temporarily.
Yeah,
The
and
Board of
I mean,
Health.
I don't know if Joy the shared town clerk you're talking about?
No, it's
I mean, shared
Ashley.
Ashley,
oh.
Ashley, right? Ashley.
because Joy
Ashley
knows
Penna.
town clerk stuff, assistant town clerk, right, Anna? Is she, if needed, you could ask her.
Okay, Joy knows that.
I haven't talked to Joy, but she's always willing to step in and help out. But Ashley does not have time to take on more responsibilities at this point.
All
She's
right.
made that pretty clear.
That's good to know. Okay.
Yeah, and Joy is really helpful.
So is everyone happy with the concept of Doug, the knight in shining armor stepping
Yeah,
in
right.
to help us out for a month or two?
Yes.
I think so.
Yeah.
And I just want to make this clear that this is in my own best interest, because it's the last thing I want is for us to hire somebody out of urgency who turns out to be a disaster, because that's going to make my life hell.
Or all of ours. Yeah, exactly.
So I actually felt a lot better after I met with for a couple hours with Ashley, with you. What's your name?
Alicia.
I met
Alicia.
I met with you earlier this week, and I'll get together with again next week. But I felt a lot better after that. I think I'll be okay. I can. It seems like I can do most of it.
I think
And,
you have a lot of support too.
Yeah, and for the esoteric stuff, I can call Nancy or Margie McGinnis, and
Yeah.
for the other stuff, with Carolyn around, and
Yeah.
you know, and Deb comes in once a week, and we're already. It's been real helpful to see her in person because she's been able to help me by altering some of the ways that she's doing things that are better for the way that the information I'm trying to glean from all of that. So it's
And I'm
it's
available by
it's
text.
better. Yep.
And I'm trying to get the, like the liquor licensing, the garage, Scott's garage licensing. I'm getting all of that stuff prepped and ready, just ready to mail. So those are the kinds of things you won't have to look in the computer to see what's going on with it or miss any deadlines.
Okay.
Like that.
Well, I already had plans to reorganize the computer. That's we talked a lot about that. I think I can improve it quite a bit the way it's organized. But those kind of esoteric things like that, like licensing, I don't know anything about that. So it'd be helpful. We'll talk next week about things you've identified and come across that are a little more esoteric like that we can discuss. I'm thinking maybe being there 3, maybe 4 days a week, shorter days than Alicia's doing, and have a couple of days where there's 6-hour periods where it's open to the public, and then the rest of it by appointment, and doing some of the work from home. I took a copy of the hard drive of the computer home with me, and that's fine. So there's a lot of stuff that I can do from here. And my goal is just to buy time so we can find the right person.
Thanks, Doug.
Yeah, good.
I
Thank
do
you,
have a
Doug.
request for Alicia and Doug. If you can, Doug, set your hours and change the website and send us a note about what they are. So then we make sure it's clear for people about when somebody will be there to.
Yeah, and Alicia,
available.
if you could change the phone message at the same time to
Sure.
reflect this new schedule that you and Doug are going to come up with about when
Yeah,
the
we'll
office
talk about
is
it
open,
next week.
and make that clear that the office is open at these times, but you can contact us via email all the time or whatever. Just so
Okay.
people know when there's someone actually going to be in the office on the phone message.
Okay.
Yes. I
And I think-
suspected it'll be Tuesdays and Thursdays because that's when Joy is there and that's when Deb is there, is to be the regular times. And maybe, well, I'll probably be there on the Wednesdays before select board meetings, but I don't know whether I want to make that,
Yeah.
write that in stone.
Thursdays was Nancy's schedule. So
Yeah, so that helps. Yep.
that works out pretty well, except for the one item that in order to post the agenda for the select board,
Mhm.
It's been very handy to have Alicia in the office on Monday. 'Cause
Mhm.
that gives us the 48 hours.
Yeah.
So we can adjust the agenda right up
Yeah,
until it needs to
yeah.
be posted.
Well, I
But-
think I think we can work that out. I don't necessarily need to be, the thing is, I don't need to be in the office to put that together. All
That's
I
right.
need to be able to do is drive up to the office to put it on the board.
Yeah. Just
So,
make sure you don't run into the police up there. That's the only thing.
I'm pretty friendly with him. I don't know, it's I don't think they'll bother me.
I don't think they will.
And if you could just on the phone message, just put, we have the interim
Yes.
report in the office, Doug Tanner, so people know we're working on it.
Yeah.
And that Doug didn't all of a sudden become
No,
finance office coordinator.
no, you don't want a 75-year-old person to be the permanent coordinator.
it's
It's a bad
vague.
idea.
I think it's a vague message. I mean, it says Monday and Wednesday by appointment, and Tuesday, Thursday hours. So
Yeah.
as of right now, it's still sort of the same as what Doug might be doing.
Yeah, well, except I'll probably go, given who I am and what I do, it'll probably be like 10 to 4 on those 2 days. It'll be probably the hours that commit to being around as opposed to 9 to 5. And that
Yeah.
might be it as far as
Not sure
committed
you need
hours,
to- Not sure you really need to say by appointment or anything. Just say the public hours or email, something like that.
Contact for other information,
Yeah,
something. Yeah.
yeah, or leave a message.
And I'd be happy to meet people up there, and I'll be there on other days, but I just don't want to commit to having to
Right.
a permanent
Yeah.
schedule other than that, probably those 12 hours.
And then we need to write up an ad and start.
Yes.
Alicia, do you have the ad are you able to find the ad that we used when we advertised?
It's probably in here somewhere, because I think I might have at some point seen something that said coordinator or something or other, so I can poke around and see.
Will you send that to us?
Yeah.
That would be good. I think you've got it somewhere, and we can
And then
start with that.
are we able to give an okay if it looks good to resubmit and have Alicia put it out there? Or do we need to meet?
Let's see. I think actually we're going to need to tweak it, because now we have this whole new position and a new pay scale, different from the one we hired her for, right?
Well, I
Well,
thought
it
it was
did-
similar.
It's similar. It's similar. I don't think
It's
it's
similar.
exactly the same because when we hired Alicia, we thought that she was going to be the assessor's clerk and the assistant town clerk, and
That's
then it
right.
shifted to Board of Health. I think we have to think about it a little bit. We're to try
Okay.
to make it the most attractive but yet functional job possible for us.
Okay, so
The
we'll
other
review
thing
at the
that-
next meeting.
And maybe, if there's other ideas people have about things that could be folded into it, I think, that's fine too. And we're talking about the website management and, and I said to Alicia, and I think that the financial coordinator job can be folded into it. And it could be, if we got somebody who's qualified to do that, they could just take that too, and that would add to it. But
You're
You know,
getting
it
to
might
me
be-
now.
it depends.
Might be an idea to start with a more limited job and then add things as we go along.
Mhm.
I don't know. But
Yeah.
one thing Carolyn did request is that it be a salaried position, not an hourly position. That
Mhm.
shouldn't be too hard to achieve, right?
Yeah, that one wouldn't matter. It's salaried, but the person who's salaried, they still report their hours every 2 weeks, don't they? Even if they're salaried or not? They don't?
I don't think so.
I think they might have to, because you have to put in sick or vacation time and all that.
Yeah. And Carolyn and I were talking about a way to do the holiday time that made sense to us. Actually, we kind of came to an agreement that we're going to propose. I don't know if we want to get all into it right now, but we figured it out.
Let's review at the next meeting after we look at
Yeah.
what we put out.
Yeah, so Alicia, when
time.
you send that job description, could you send Doug a copy too? And then we can all review it and try to come up with a new one in time to post it, get it in the papers at our next meeting, hopefully.
Mhm.
I'm
Yeah.
wondering if you would want to post it on the STAM listserv.
Yeah,
Okay, I wasn't sure if there was some legality behind, you can't do it for some reason, so, but people are always posting like, we need this or we need that on there, whether it's constables or, so.
no, we'll put it out everywhere, including probably in the central register, which is
Oh.
not a legal requirement, but it gets to everybody in the state. And then we'll do the website and the listserv and beat the bushes for somebody.
I've reached out to a couple people who
Yeah.
Either might know of somebody or have experience doing it themselves. So
Does
Um,
anyone know if there were multiple candidates in New Salem?
There
Anyone
were.
that, and who those other
I don't know
candidates
who
were?
I don't know who they were. I can find out. There was only one other candidate. And I think that I mentioned to you that the person they hired has a very long commute.
Hmm,
Oh,
It's like a 2-hour commute or something like that.
2 hours. Oh,
Well, it may be 1 hour each way, but it's significant.
oh,
So the idea of us somehow being able to use that person, I think is pretty unlikely.
I don't think I want to go back to that model either.
I would
don't
say
think I do either.
I'd say the likelihood of that person working there very long is probably unlikely too.
and are they still just a halftime? Did they stick with the halftime?
More or less.
I think so.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, I think we need somebody of our own. And we should start advertising for it soon.
Yeah, I'll
Mhm.
find that.
Okay, everybody good on
Before I
that?
leave tonight.
Next thing on here is police patrols. I think we covered it.
Do we want to try
I
to
hope so.
schedule another discussion?
For a public discussion?
Right.
I think I would wait to see if we get requests for it, or if any of the people submit anything written that asks for more input. But that's my own personal opinion.
Mhm.
Laurie, do you have any thoughts on that?
I think that's probably fine. And I guess we can all just let things percolate before we have a more, I mean, I assume we want to just make a discussion just to say yay or nay on if we're going to keep things as is or different based on all of this, right?
Yeah. And are we okay telling Scott that we want to keep up with the status quo, that the 2 to 4 hours of patrolling per week, according to the way he described it, should continue?
I'm comfortable with that. And I think just knowing too of the conversations that have happened in terms of just continuing to work on having conversations and helping the community feel more comfortable with the police presence in town is important. And I feel like they're being responsive to that. Like, that's my own perspective, but
Yeah.
and I think at some point to check back in with people. And I kind of like the model actually of, and maybe we can be more clear about it next time, of having Scott there for part of the discussion and then having an opportunity for residents to have a more
Yep.
open discussion without him there. Gives an opportunity for feedback as well as
Conversation.
Next time we might want to do it opposite or something. I feel like the people got shortchanged.
yeah, I agree
That's
with
a
you,
good
Lauren.
idea.
Yeah. We're learning as we
maybe-
go,
Or
right?
or maybe completely two separate things, you know, a totally open forum with no police and one that's just sort of a more of a question answer.
Mhm.
Yeah, so maybe the next one should be without the police.
Mhm.
And maybe we don't
Yeah.
need to do it at our next meeting, but maybe before the end of the year sometime, when everybody's had a little bit more percolation and experience.
And I think the other natural time for that to happen as well is when this agreement becomes more final.
Which
So
will
right
be
now,
soon.
right now we're operating just under that MOA, or MOU, MOA, I think. But then when it becomes more final, you know, having that, talking about there being opportunities for feedback and a more formal process of Wendell being represented.
Yeah, I think my hunch would be that those agreements, both of them, are going to be ready. All the legal negotiations about them, I think, will be complete by our next meeting.
Great.
So presumably we will have those agreements completed and be ready to sign them at our next meeting.
Okay.
We should review what we have now, because I think the final is not going to be much different. And we should be getting that very soon from these folks, because They're really just crossing Ts and dotting Is at this point.
Should we put that on the agenda for the next meeting in case?
I think so. Yeah,
And if it doesn't happen, then we can pass over it.
yeah,
And I guess I would like, in terms of saying, is it okay to let Scott keep with the status quo? I would say yes, but this is a short-term thing, a short-term in terms, not, I mean, I think we need another discussion within the select board at least to
Mhm.
confirm based on what we heard tonight and from any written things. If
okay,
we, we can discuss it and make a final formal decision of what we want to go ahead with. So
Okay.
not like, I don't want the status quo to be till the end of the year. I think it would be better to make that a short term with it and have some formal decision, and then we can continue the discussion going forward too. I know there's a lot of people who want to know more about the police station, which is a whole nother thing that didn't come up tonight. So,
Oh, well, it did come up briefly. There were a few pot
Yeah.
shots taken at it. Hmm. But, so you're thinking maybe we would make a more formal decision at our next meeting, or a little beyond that, maybe?
yeah, especially if we are going to be signing this agreement, if this agreement is going to be ready, like Gillian said, that's the perfect time to make it. To just say, okay, this is something we've taken in everything, and at this moment, we agree that this is the right course, and
Okay,
make it sort of formal.
but I
I
can
mean,
tell
that's
him
what
for the time being, he can continue. Until
right,
further-
right.
Until further notice. Yeah.
We're not
okay.
making any changes to the current memorandum of agreement.
Right. For now.
When Scott and I were discussing his patrolling, because he had come in here after the complaint, he had mentioned that because he had told his officers to come up during their shifts, that it wasn't actually costing the town of Wendell anymore. Because they were on their
Yeah.
shifts and leverage.
Right.
Yeah. That's
So I
part
don't
of,
know if that makes a difference.
we haven't used any of the separate speed patrolling emergency money at all. This is all.
Yeah,
under the
I'd say we're
general
actually getting a real bargain right at the moment.
Yeah.
is likely to change.
It's gonna cost a little more in the future, but pretty good right now. And I think the next thing is over to you folks for Code Red. Is there any update on that, or?
I just wanted to know how to proceed.
So the next thing is the training session, which that woman said was lengthy, a little lengthy. I don't know if she said it was an hour, I want to say. But it's the training on how to use it, how to post, and all of that. I actually enrolled my phone and my family already in the link that did you guys see those emails about how to enroll in the text alerts?
Yes, I didn't
So
know
if
if it
you-
was set up yet.
Yeah, if you text, I think it's 99411 or whatever, it sends you text Wendell Alerts, which is, the woman called me and asked me what I wanted it to be, and I told her I wasn't sure, and she said, how about Wendell Alerts? Do you guys like that as what would come up under a text or a phone call?
Can we do more than one? I can't remember. I feel like they said maybe you can have one that's more of an emergency kind of thing, and one that's a, just maybe announcing the town meeting.
I can email
Maybe it
her,
doesn't matter.
yeah, because it would be two different, it would be nice to know if there were emergency texts. But she at least wanted to get it set up. So she set it up as Wendell Alerts for now.
You can
That's
always
fine.
change
for the
it.
text. Yeah, that's just for the text. So I don't know,
I guess we need to
what
do
it's
the
gonna be
training.
going forward. But you have to, we have to set up the training, and I told her to call back next week so that we could figure out a time, because it was a little crunched this week. to do that. But they also, I sent you all the marketing material, so I'm not sure who you want to take that on.
Well, Lori and I kind of took it on, so I think we'll probably decide.
Okay.
And I'm wondering if I don't know, maybe Lori and I can talk and decide what days would work best to schedule the training, if we can do it that way with her. And then we'll take it on and go from there and report back.
Yeah, because I
Make
think
sense,
that
Lori?
that's when you would,
Yeah,
you know, put who you want to be able to post alerts and all of that.
Right, because I think we need to talk with the fire department, Leverett PD, highway department.
Well, you
Like,
could even
those
put
are
the
the primary
library
people.
on
Board of
there,
Health.
right? Posting.
Board of Health, library, right. And I think we do need to set up some guidelines in terms of how, like, we don't want every time an event's happening at the library to send out an announcement. It's more for, because then I think people start to ignore it. You know,
mhm.
if something comes through and just becomes annoying. So I think we do need to set up some guidelines in terms of how it's gonna.
The town clerk might be good for elections and
Yes.
meetings.
Or that could be shared with the town coordinator, and the coordinator sends those alerts out for
Yeah,
that kind of thing.
No, I think it would be good if I had the training as well, but
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, so I think first Lori and I should do the training and then see the next steps. But
sure.
it'd be nice if we
Sounds
could
good.
use it this winter when
Yeah.
things happen. I guess the emergency management director. Those are
Lonnie.
the big ones. Lonnie.
Yeah, he should be in the loop, I think.
Yeah.
And does the cost of Code Red relate to the number of times it's used?
No.
No.
Nope.
Okay. Well, thanks for doing that.
Yeah, I think the cost is more associated with the number of people, number of residents.
Okay.
And that was actually something we changed before we signed the contract because they had an older number. And we asked them to bump it up to the 900 number instead of
Okay.
800 and something. Because if it increases by more than 10% or something, there might be an increase in our contract. If we
Okay.
have a jump in residency of more than 10% in the next 3 years, I will be very surprised. But
Okay.
Lori, do you want me to email to schedule?
You really don't think the population of Wendell is going to go up by 10% in the next 3 years?
I don't think so. You think so?
I think
Everybody's coming from the cities.
they are.
I think we got more and more children.
And
We're
they're
talking 90 people.
All right, children.
Don't
And
forget about them.
I do know New Salem's numbers of children, young children, are going up quite significantly.
All right.
That's
That's
good
the
news,
best
right?
thing that
Guys?
can happen to us right now.
No, I keep track of it, and I'm like,
Oh, yeah, you would know.
Uh,
Mhm.
all right, Lori, I'll email them and see when they can schedule meeting times for, and then.
Okay, sounds good.
Oh,
Oh, oh,
Constant
Got it.
entertainment
Mini
here.
cow there?
All right.
Much,
our
much
biggest
more
fan.
fun than an in-person meeting.
okay.
Okay, that's okay for Code Red then? You're all set with that
I think so.
for now? And I think the cemetery tree has been taken care of. I told Sylvia that I think the town would be happy to take care of one of the trees, and the cemetery commission would take care of the other one.
Sounds good.
And any further items?
I
do
did-
have a question.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Alicia.
I had a question about the Maya insurance that we have. They sent me a renewal, for fiscal year, 2023 and 2024. So I'm not sure who decides on, because it's a 2-year, proposal.
We
So I'm
would,
not sure if it's something you guys want to look at. It's not much to it other than a letter.
I'd be happy to look at it, but we definitely want to renew.
Okay,
That's our insurance coverage.
yeah, so I'll leave that on the table. And then I'm assuming it's your signature, Dan,
Okay.
okay? And there's 2 of them, so, I would just sign the 2 of them, because I'm not sure where they're going.
Okay.
Which, I know it'll tell me, but, I don't think it's one for my copy. There's probably 2 going out somewhere, so,
All right.
okay. That's it for me.
Gillian, you had anything else?
Lori did.
Yeah,
Lori?
I just wanted to make sure people saw I think there was some back and forth about the dry hydrant.
Oh, right.
Yep.
And I think the next step is to have the lawyer look at it and maybe write up a easement or
Okay.
something.
Yeah, that's what it would be.
So I don't, and Joe said he didn't have any idea about the cost, which I guess I thought the last time that we had this conversation, we weren't sure, we sort of wanted to have a better idea of the cost, and we didn't know if it was going to be prohibitive, and maybe we, we wanted to hold off on the paying the lawyer for something if we didn't know it was going to go through, but
Well, what is the status of the easement now? Has it been written up? And is there a plan?
no, there's nothing. There's a plan for the dry hydrant that Joe sent us. That was recent. So I think we can send that to the lawyer and say, draw us up an easement or something.
And that's got a plot plan on it?
I believe so.
Yeah, I'd be in favor of trying to keep the legal costs down if there's a way to do it.
But anyway, I think Joe just is expecting that that's the next step that we'll do. So I don't know if we need to, if we want to just do that or if we want to talk to him again.
I'd be happy to talk to him and see if there's a way around it. Maybe he has an easement for other dry hydrants that we could use as a template. You think?
I don't know. I mean, way back when this discussion started, it did seem pretty straightforward that that was the next step that was going to have to happen, but it's been so long that
It seems straightforward. The next step was sending it off to the lawyer.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, if that's your inclination, it's okay with me.
I don't know who else.
Well, the alternative would be to talk to Joe and see if there's a template that he has
Yeah.
one for another easement. Then we could just use that language. But if you're not comfortable with that, then we can send it.
No, I'm fine. That whatever is fine with me. I just
Okay.
can't remember how we left it way back when.
So would you like me to contact Joe and talk to him about that? I can do
Sure.
it.
I have a slight conflict, so That's why I'm a little hedgy here.
Oh, I see.
Gotcha,
Right.
Lori.
Forgot about
Thank
that.
you for mentioning that.
Forgot about that. Yeah, full disclosure is always really good. Okay, I'll talk to Joe about it.
All right,
Right.
and Lori, I'm going to bring up one other thing that is, you can recuse yourself from the discussion.
Okay, I shall do that.
The dam and the deed and plan needs to get sent to council for review. The dam that is on the property that the DiDonatos are joint owners of. I think we had made it, Dan, you had made a request that the deed and plan go to town council for review and send that to Alicia. To David, to send it to David Doneski.
Yeah,
Alicia, did you get that? Because Ray said he would forward to Alicia with us copied, but I don't see another copy of it, so I'm not sure it ever went to Alicia.
I don't recall that.
Okay. I could forward it to Alicia now
good.
and
Thank you.
ask. So Alicia, it just needs to be sent to David Doneski for
Okay.
review.
Okay. And who's David Dineski?
He's our town council, our lawyer.
Council. Okay, right.
He's with Copeland and Page.
He's with who?
Copeland Page is the name of the law
Coleman.
firm.
Okay.
And yeah, this is not an easement for the dry hydrant. This is the actual deed for the land abutting the dam. And it does need legal review. And that particular legal bill, I believe, is going to be paid by
The DiDonatos.
the DiDonatos, right?
Thank you. Okay, I just sent that to Alicia, so.
Good. Well, thanks for
Thank
catching
you.
that.
Yeah.
Didn't realize that hadn't happened.
And I think I don't think there's anything else.
Okay. I don't think I have anything else.
Question, could the last person that signs the warrants notify Carolyn tomorrow? Because I won't be here,
Yep,
So-
we can
so
do
I'm
that.
not sure who's coming in last, but I'll leave a note too, so that whoever it is doesn't forget.
What's the best way to notify her?
Her cell
Email, I
phone,
think.
or yeah,
Just email her?
text or something. She's pretty easy to get a hold of.
I don't know that I have her email, so I mean her cell phone number.
I can give you her numbers.
I'll write it on that,
Yeah, Dan,
on
you
the
don't have to
note.
give it to me over Zoom. Alicia can write it down for me.
Okay.
Though I am gonna try to go in first thing in the morning if we want to do who's going in when.
You're gonna go in first thing in the morning. How about you, Lori?
I will probably go like mid-morning or 9. Is first thing 8, Gillian?
In
For you?
between 8 and 9, I'll try to get there.
Okay, so I could probably do 9 and 10, between 9 and 10 or closer to 9.
Okay.
Okay, great. I'll
Do
come
you
in.
want me to let you know when I'm done, Lori? Does it matter?
No, I don't think it matters.
Okay, great.
One more little piece of business if you're done. Are you done?
Sure. Yep.
So Carolyn and I discussed Carolyn likes the idea that I do this little interim thing. She and I discussed how that would work in terms of the rules. And fortunately in our policies, it says that if a person is appointed to an emergency short-term position, that they are exempt from the hours limitations on all the benefit things and like that. So I don't have to keep my hours under 18 hours or 19 hours a week. That's good. So it
That's
leaves me
good.
flexibility. Yeah. And
Yeah.
I had, informally for the moment, I guess, I said, I'll do it for $20 an hour, no benefits, just, and that's fine. If that's good by you, you don't have to make a formal vote on that or anything right now, but, and yeah, that's it. I just want to tell you that.
Okay.
Oh, she did think I should check with the ethics people once again to make sure there's no problem. But the only problem there would be with my position on the FinCom. But that was okay with the tiny town exemption last time. Probably would be again. But I'll give him a phone call.
Yeah, I think, Doug, that if you make a declaration that you're doing this job and recuse yourself from any discussion of your salary,
Yeah.
You'll be fine.
Yeah, and as far as the FinCom goes, yeah, which is what I had to do with the financial coordinator.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Good. Thanks for doing it.
Yeah, and
Okay.
checking with the ethics, I think, is a good idea.
Yeah, well,
Then it's all on the up and up. Thank you.
you're welcome.
Okay. Thanks to everybody.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you
Have a
all.
good night,
Can
everybody.
adjourn at 8:28. Very good.
Thank you.
Mission
Right.
accomplished.
All right. Good night.
Night.